There you go. Recording has started. I'll start off by introducing myself. So I'm Tony from CNVRG Agency. We're a HubSpot partner of about 5 or 6 years. We've been doing it for quite a while. I've used HubSpot for longer than that as a sales manager and a sales director. And I run the South Wales HUG, the South Wales HubSpot user group, which meets monthly to do something to do with HubSpot. We talk about something to do with HubSpot. It's a free event. We don't sell anything. It's not for that. It's just to spread the love of the HubSpot ecosystem. And we're here just a day or so away from inbound. So I thought we'd sneak one in before before it all kicks off. I'm very lucky to be joined by young Fed, as I like to call him, who was a tennis star in his native land, and also a partnership manager for Databox. Now, Databox, if you've not heard of it, Databox is one of our partners. In addition to HubSpot, we have a few chosen partners as Converse Agency. Databox being one of them, Aircall being another, and maybe a couple of others as well. But Databox is one of the most important ones for reasons I'm about to go into. So I've asked Fed if he could come on to the HUG with me today just to show everybody really what Databox is all about and how it works. But before we get to the good stuff, I just want to do a little bit of a preamble and talk about why I think Databox is important for HubSpot users. Because obviously, as a HubSpot partner, and somebody who sets up HubSpot dashboards and reports seemingly on a daily basis, you might think it's a bit weird that I'm recommending Databox, a third-party app. So we'll get to that as well. We'll talk a little bit about that. And then Fed will give us a bit of a run through of the platform, so you'll get to see some of the goodies. It won't take all that long. Hopefully we'll be done in about 30 minutes. Unless, Andrea, you have a million questions you want answered, or anybody else who gets to the meet imminently, we can answer those questions as well. Just drop them in the chat, and we'll do our best to pick that up. But before that, Fed, thank you very much for coming along. Tell us what was your most recent tennis win? No. Let's just let's stick to Databox. How long have you been with the company? And tell us a little bit more about your role and what you do for Databox.
First, very thankful for you inviting me here, and it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. So I've been with Databox. Well, it's going to be 4 years now in October. So what, 3 years and 11 months
I
now?
didn't know
Something
it
like
was
that.
quite as long as
My
I
math.
think I've known you all that time. Have I? That's a bit scary.
Well, I don't think all that time because
No,
I've
it just feels like
started.
it.
Yeah, feels like forever, right?
Yeah, it does.
I've started in customer support, then did customer onboarding, account management, and then finally landed as a partnership manager.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
first in like partnership management, we did a lot of co-marketing campaigns with our partners, and that's basically how you and I met.
Yep,
So
that's
we
right.
set out on a mission together to do some co-marketing. But now I'm actually working with our partners, helping them leverage our tool to deliver an advanced reporting, business intelligence type of service through our platform to bring more value to their clients.
Excellent. And you're clearly not from round here, Fad. You're not in South Wales. Where
No,
you
I wish I was, but
Databox
I'm
is a
open to an
worldwide company.
invitation.
Yeah. Good point. So where are you based at the moment?
I'm based in a small city in Serbia called Subotica. It's right at the north, close to the border with Hungary. But I'm
Fantastic.
in Europe, yeah.
Yeah. And Databox is a European company.
Our headquarters and the company is registered in the States, so in Boston, but our founder is from Slovenia. We
That's right.
have an office space in
That's
Slovenia,
right.
which
That's
is
right.
very lovely,
And of
as the
course,
whole country is.
we can't, no, 100%, but we can't but remark on young Pete Caputo, who's the chief exec, or at least the more visible chief exec, I guess. Those of you who may have heard the name Pete Caputo is ex HubSpot himself, was responsible for the partner program years ago. He's not part of HubSpot now, but still got all of his shares and is still making a
Lucky
load
him.
of money from them, I'm sure. Um, So Pete, you may see on LinkedIn particularly talking about Databox, but there's this whole sort of network, as Fed said, in US and in Europe, supporting their customers. And the customers are sort of people like us, HubSpot agents, and other software company agents, and also the end users. So Fed obviously works with more like people with us, more with the partners, but there's plenty of people who buy Databox themselves. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about what Databox is. I want to kick off with a scene set really, and explain why we recommend Databox. So I've been a managing director for a long time, before I became a HubSpot partner, and obviously data was my friend. The bigger the organization I ran, the more data you have, and the more complicated it becomes to understand what's going on. And what you find, or what I found anyway, is maybe at the beginning of my career as a sales manager and a sales director, I'd get as many reports as I could possibly get my hands on. But I realized as an MD, particularly as the organizations I work with got bigger, that more information didn't necessarily equal more insight. And that's the magic word. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys about today. Information is not insight. So just looking at information about your business does not necessarily tell you what you need it to tell you. It'll tell you things, but is it going to tell you things with context? Is it going to tell you things with congruence? And is it going to tell you things with consistency that you can run your business on? You can make decisions. We call it data-driven decision making, right? And Fed mentioned a great term there, a much better term, business intelligence. Where do you get business intelligence from? So the downside of HubSpot, as far as data goes, is that there's so much of it. HubSpot is data without insight in many ways. You literally have hundreds of reports that you can create. You can copy just from the report library, and tens, 20s of dashboards, of which you can put like 9 or 10 reports on each. So before you know it, you can be absolutely overwhelmed with reports. And reports are fine, they're great. We need data, but the data is not necessarily telling you anything. That's the point that I'm trying to make, right? So if you look at a set of sales analytics, or you look at a set of marketing analytics, or even operational analytics, what's it telling you, right? So that's the point I want to make. Now, just stick with me for a little bit longer. This may be boring, but it does make sense. The way you get insight from your information, the way you get insight from the data that's within your HubSpot platform, is by looking at it in the form of metrics and comparing those metrics to what you might have set out as your original strategic objectives, business process objectives, and business KPIs. So this is the whole point. We don't look at all of the information that HubSpot can supply us. We look at the information that is relevant to our strategic objectives, relevant to those business processes, and relevant to those KPIs. I call these feedback loops, right? You can't control anything within your business without a feedback loop. A feedback loop is a really simple idea. Something happens, you measure it, and the information, the insight from that measurement goes back to management. Management can then say, this is working, this is not working. What are we going to do to tweak it? Should we continue to do it? Should we stop it? That's a feedback loop. Right? And without feedback loops, businesses go nowhere. They just stand still. They spin their wheels. They can't move in any direction. So when we onboard you into HubSpot, one of the key things we want to do is to build these feedback loops for you. Because what you find is if we start to measure some of the things that you're doing in HubSpot, like how many sales calls you're making, what audience level you're generating, how many of your contacts are converting through your forms, and so on and so on and so on, you can start to make decisions about the business. You can't make those decisions when there's so much data, you don't know your ass from your elbow, if I could use a little Anglo-Saxon description there. So this is why Databox comes in extremely handy. Before I move on to talk about Databox a little bit more, Fed, just rather than have you sit there looking pretty, is that a sort of use case Is that the sort of use case other customers of Databox are coming to you with? Because it's more than just HubSpot customers, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. It helps you curate basically the data, so it helps you get the full picture with your data, right? So, like most companies have data spread out across different tools. For example, like you brought up HubSpot, but there's also like Google Ads, QuickBooks for finance, spreadsheets for ops. Like there's so many different data sources, and it's very hard to bring all of that together. So Databox is basically a medium where you can connect everything and get clarity on all your data, right? You can make connections between your sources, build your views, and then interpret it in your own way. So it's a way to get insights much quicker
Yeah,
and
and
maybe
not just
curate
from
it.
HubSpot. So that this is why that's important. When we ideally when we work with our clients, we want to build something. We call it, it's a bit jargony, right? We call it a management consulting. Sorry, a, ma- a management control system, not consulting system, a management control system, an MCS, right? But all that is like a series of dashboards or feedback loops. At its most simple level, it's feedback loops. But they're the feedback loops that you use to move the business forward. So the important thing is that those feedback loops are aligned with the strategic objectives, are aligned with your business processes, and are aligned with your KPIs. We don't measure everything. We measure just what's important. Now, as an MD, I may only have 5 dashboards. And on each dashboard, there may only be 3 metrics that I would look at. If something else is flashing red, then you're able to deep dive into that. You're able to go into HubSpot or Zero or whatever you need to and get right into the data. But in terms of running the business, it's far easier to have a view across this one control system, this one set of feedback loops. And that's why I love Databox so much. So I can build a dashboard or even a series of dashboards across all of these platforms that my business uses. And I can bring all of that information into the one place, and I can see at one glance how I'm progressing against my objectives. And obviously, if it's all green, thumbs up, fantastic. Let's carry on. Let's keep doing the work. And if things are starting to, if they're amber or if they're red, we can deep dive. So then we do need the HubSpot reporting. Then we do need spreadsheets, and we do need all these other things if we want to dive into something and find out how it how it was made up, the granularity of the situation that we're in. But before then, rather than have me go through miles of HubSpot reporting and then go to a different screen to look at my financial reporting, go to a different screen to look at my inventory management, go to a different screen, and so on and so on and so on, I can bring all that together with Databox. So Databox is what we use to build our management control system, which is basically a collection of feedback loops. And that's what allows you to get traction in your business and to move the business forward. If you're not measuring it, you're not managing it. And Pete Caputo will talk about this a lot, right? Business intelligence is about growing your business. How can you grow your business if you don't know what you're doing well? Or if you don't know that what you're doing isn't working? And you're not going to know whether it's working or you're doing it well unless you measure it. So it's as simple as so. It's a bit of a long-winded way around, Fed, but I wanted to explain why Databox to this HubSpot audience. My Hug audience. Why am I saying let's use Databox for reports? It's not really reports. I'm not really talking about reports. I'm talking about dashboards, and I'm talking about metrics, and I'm talking about that collection of feedback loops. Say I'm talking about that management control system. So I'll ask again, Fed, is that a typical usage of Databox? Is that what you're seeing your customers use it for?
It's well, yes, but it's also not just that kind of like overview of your whole business. You can dive deeper into the data with Databox, right? With data sets, you do have access to raw or row level data. So you can drill down basically and go down very deep into
You're right.
the
You
rabbit
don't
hole,
need to
right?
jump back out and go back into
Yeah.
HubSpot or not. Fair point.
True, true. Yeah. Plus, it's not just numbers, right? Like in Databox, you can add also the context behind what you did. With reports, you can say what you did, what worked, what you'll do next. Basically, you can use it to make a write up around the data. So it's not just getting numbers; it's also about insights around the
Yeah,
data.
and the HubSpot, the Databox AI is fantastic for for that, for the analysis, and as you say, the summaries of all that kind of thing. You don't need. It feels like you don't need an accountant anymore to show you what's going on, because Databox is going to. So let's stop teasing people. Let's get to the actual platform. Have you got like a normal demo that you could run us through? Maybe I can ask a few questions as we go along. But if you want to share your screen and take us through it, that would be amazing.
Let me try to do that. All right. I think now you should be able to see my
Yeah,
screen. I
we've got
just
your
need
screen.
to find it myself as well. So we're on the same track. As you said, the context behind the data. So it's not just numbers, right? As soon as you pop in to your account, this is basically your home screen, which can give you context behind what happened with your most important metrics in the last 7 days and the last 30 days. So it's not just plain numbers, right? You're getting insights into what happened.
Yeah.
And then you're also getting some ideas on potentially how to improve that area of your performance, right? So here is where you would specify your most important metrics. And then you would get this type of insight delivered to you here, powered by AI. And you'll be able to see what's trending up, what's trending down. So immediately you're able to spot things that are going great, right? And things that can be improved, so you can dive deeper into maybe uncovering why this number is low. But um, with that being said, in order to get those numbers, or in order to make any kind of use with our tool, right, you have to have some data connected, because
Yes.
without data, well, the tool doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
So it lives off of data. And to do that, you would have to go to your data manager. And here is where you can basically connect all the data points that you use as a company, right? So if you browse our available integrations, you can browse by categories. So you can connect all of your marketing, you can connect email marketing. Then when you're done with marketing, you can connect your sales, your CRM, like HubSpot, Salesforce, Pipedrive, etc. If you're using that, then you can go into accounting, invoicing, so like QuickBooks, Xero, FreshBooks, so you have your accounting software. And then if you need more, we do have spreadsheets. You can connect YouTube, Vistia, sources like that. You can connect customer support data as well, from like Caller, Intercom. And if you need more, obviously you can custom API connect the data to Databox, pretty much from everything that does have an open API. If you do have a SQL database where all your data is being fed into, that's perfect. You can plug it in. So we have all the SQL connectors. You can use data sets with them. So you can use Databox to add that BI layer on top of all of that data in your database. So obviously the next step when you have data connected would be to do something with it, right?
Mm.
So you can either pop over to the metrics screen and maybe look at all the metrics that are available out of the box, because with most integrations that you do connect, you have certain metrics that come and are plug and play, so you don't have to go the route of creating your own metrics. So once you see metrics here, this is where your favorite metrics will live, right, in the metrics screen. Here, if you need more insights around a particular metric, you can go to the Metric Insight tab, where you can see how you're trending, basically. So you can compare it to the previous period. You can have a forecast based on your previous performance. You can also have a benchmark where your performance is compared to companies similar to yours in terms of industry, size, and business type, and revenue range.
And if you change that metric, the obviously all of that on the right hand side there, you've got those AI summaries. You've got that saying the performance decline, corrective action needed, and so on. And if you could, so if in the top left, I'm looking, you can change sessions to some other metric. Yeah, there
Mhm.
you go, and it'll do the
Exactly.
same thing. So I mean, we used to. This is a bit long time ago, but you used to have to sort of pour over these spreadsheets and almost guess what was going on. Whereas now you just summarize the specific things that you're looking at, and Databox does the work. Fantastic. And again, this is another step on from HubSpot. HubSpot's getting better at this. It's getting better at telling you what's going on. but it's, this is way in advance of what HubSpot will do.
Exactly. And with every metric, you can set goals around every metric. So your top KPIs, you can basically track how you're trending towards hitting those KPIs. So um, basically, everyone can be accountable for their own KPIs. If you think about a sales team, they can have their own KPIs with goals attached to them, and each salesperson can have their own set of KPIs with goals
Yeah.
attached to those.
And those are
So
the feedback loops, right? That's what I was talking about when I talk about a feedback loop. Perfect feedback example is a sales target. So I get a monthly feedback loop on my performance. Have I hit my
exactly.
target? Am I below it? Am I above it? And so on. Perfect. Excellent.
Exactly. And if some metrics are not available in the metric library, you can most likely create it as a custom metric.
Amazing.
And if you want to mix and match metrics between sources, you can do all these weird calculations if you would like to. So you can basically create calculations from metrics from different sources, from different platforms with our calculated metrics options. And here in the data board screen is where you can build your own dashboards, or we call them data boards here. So here's an example of a Google Search Performance data board. This is only Google Search Console data, but you can put any type of data in a data board and display it in one view. Uh, so
And could you mix different sources in the one data board as well?
yes, of course you can.
Yeah.
Mm,
So I just
mix
think you've got
different
data, you've got Google Analytics there. You might have Google versus your HubSpot Analytics, for instance, if you want to manage the discrepancies between the two, because there's always a difference between the two. Yeah, excellent.
very touchy subject.
Yes, yes, yes.
And if you want to filter an entire dashboard based on a dimension, you can do that. With the demo account, I'm very limited and can't show you that feature, but essentially here you could filter the entire dashboard if you want to display maybe data only from countries like listed here, South Sudan, if that's your thing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So everything would change and you would only get data curated from that country
So the
from your Google
dashboards
search.
themselves, or the data boards themselves, are pretty powerful in their own right.
Yes. So all the data boards lived here, but to keep things organized, you can create your own loops of data boards. So a sales team can have their own loop of data boards, like their overall performance, and then a drill down by each rep, for example. The same goes for marketing. The same goes for a leadership team, where they can have an overview of the whole business, and then a data board attached for like marketing, sales, ops, finance, etc. You can also build these types of teams or departments within the tool. For example, marketing team, they can have all their data boards,
Oh,
all
right.
the reports live inside their own little ecosystem within their Databox account.
Very handy.
So you can write up text here, responsibilities of the team, a summary of the team, and then you can attach your own data boards and reports here and your top metrics. So marketing can get their overview directly here, see what's trending up, what's trending down, see their activity, everything. Meanwhile, the CEO can also log in, look at their own executive dashboards, but if they want to go deeper, see how marketing is doing, they can do it at a click of a button. Same with, for example, social media team, sales team, you name it, what type of team you define.
And that
within
looks like
here.
it's locked, so you can also manage access permissions as well to the database. Brilliant.
Yes, you can. Um, as I said, you can create these loops of data boards so you can easily toggle between the data. Like, for example, Facebook page, then you can go to your Search Console, then you can go to your Google Analytics.
So like a preset dashboard, like a loop. It's
Exactly.
gonna loop through the dashboards that you've chosen, right? Okay,
Yeah.
nice.
You don't have to get started from scratch. So everything can be done through a template. We do offer hundreds of dashboard templates. So whether you want to build a HubSpot dashboard more quickly, you can get started with a template. And everything that you see here can be replicated in your account using your own data. Here, we're using dummy data to show you what the numbers can look like.
Yep.
But when you click use template and you're not in a demo account, it will show you your HubSpot data source, and you can click and replicate and then be able to edit it and customize it and
I,
make it your own.
I think I was really surprised at that, actually, but it's worth calling that out a little bit more. You might imply, from Databox and because of its power, that it's difficult to set it up. And you can go in and work the magic yourself, or even get the Databox guys to help you work the magic. But there is, for normal installations, when we do it, the vast majority of reports are generated through these templates. They're literally just a click of a button. Um, so the metrics are just generated by calling up the metric. The data boards are just by adding the metrics into the data boards. It's fantastic. Yeah, it's actually extremely easy to use. Was that always the case? Is that something that you guys have worked on a lot over the last few years?
Oof, we've had these templates since, well, almost 4 years. I joined.
Oh, cool.
I'm not familiar with the exact history before that, but I can only tell you
Yeah, yeah,
up until that break point. So another example of AI is that it's not just available in your home screen or in your reports, but it can be available in your dashboards, right? So everything you see here, you can build your sales and marketing pipeline to see how many leads sessions you have that turn into leads, to MQLs, to SQLs, to customers. So you can see basically a conversion rate by stage of this type of pipeline, and then an overall conversion
yeah,
rate
yeah.
for the pipeline. Meanwhile, with the summary, you can basically pick 10 metrics, and AI will summarize and give you context behind the performance of each one of those metrics.
Excellent. So again, I'm not picking on HubSpot. We're HubSpot partners. We love HubSpot, but that sales and marketing pipeline is way easier to use than the waterfall pipeline, for instance, or the funnel pipeline in HubSpot, because it's giving you so much information. I find it quite hard. That's a lovely visual, and you've got that nice summary alongside it as well. Um, yeah, it's a great
And,
example of why you might want to use this rather than HubSpot.
and it's not just context behind numbers, right? So you're not just looking at numbers, but you're able to give your own write up behind the performance in the reports feature, where you can build your own basically company presentation that is very similar to a Google slide. So you can customize it, adjust it to match your brand tone, and you can build a whole presentation that you can then use in board meetings, in team meetings, in company meetings, like all hands meetings, and you don't have to spend hours and hours and hours each month customizing and everything. You can basically have the data that automatically
Amazing.
resyncs at any interval you pick. For example, here it's last 30 days, so it's always going to show you the last 30 days. It's automatically updating. You don't have to spend time grabbing screenshots,
Yeah,
putting them into a slide presentation, and then writing your summary behind it, because AI can do all of that for you through data stories, just as you can see here.
yeah. And those
So
can be shared around the organization, clearly, because you've got that
very
share button
easily,
there.
that's also a big difference. So everything can be grabbed and shared through a link, unless you're in a demo account like I am,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, of course.
But if you would click share here, you'll see the different sharing options. We do have an instant link. You can just give a link. People can open it and access it. You can restrict things within the link, so like they can change the date range. They couldn't apply filters. You can also schedule automatic sends to email, to Slack, and you can also embed it to your team.
That's brilliant. So it literally just set it up, and it's going it's going to update itself, and it's going to send itself to all the people that need to have it, which is terrific. Brilliant.
Exactly.
Well, talk
Uh,
talk to me about forecasting, Fed. We don't have an awful lot more time. I'd like to keep it a bit short and snappy, but
mhm.
I know forecasting is quite a big feature of Databox, and obviously it's an essential part of business intelligence. I know so many companies that aren't forecasting. It's not funny. Companies of a certain size, I should say, not everybody by any means. But how does Databox help us with our forecasting?
Uh, So I will show you as soon as it opens the feature, what it looks like.
I should have given you more time to prep for that. Sorry about that.
Yeah, yeah. So I see forecasting as a big part of goal setting.
Yeah.
So you can set realistic goals, basically. And we have
Well,
two
the
features that
forecast is
help you with that.
is really important. The forecast is a feedback loop in itself, right? So
Exactly.
how we perform against our forecasting is really important. So there's no point in putting in, oh, we're going to do $1 million next month if you generate 200 $200,000
Exactly.
or $2 million. So it's a vital importance, and that's why I worry that so many businesses don't actually use it.
Exactly. So, well, it's not showing up yet. Let me try another one. Maybe this will open. It's a demo account, so
Yeah.
yeah. So this is what it looks like. So you can toggle the period, on the previous period. So it can be 24 months, 12 months. You define it, and then
Yep.
you can define what the forecast period is. It can be custom, like in this case, it's 3 months, but it can be this year, this quarter, this month, right? You can also make it cumulative, and you can graph it by day, week, month. It's up to you. But what you'll get out of it is an optimistic forecast, an actual forecast, and then a pessimistic forecast. So you
Mhm.
can use this to set more accurate goals, basically. And it also gives you a forecast confidence score. Like here, you can also include seasonality, holidays, but this is the type of information you would get from the forecast.
And
So
is that pessimistic and optimistic? Is that set by the user? Is that set by the data? How does that work out?
it's based on the data. So it's taking into account your previous performance, right? So
Amazing.
then based on that, it gives you the forecast. So it's using your data to give you this type of information, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and then when you pair it with the benchmarking feature, you can not only see from the forecast what your performance could look like. So you can see, like, okay, this is optimistic, this is maybe a real forecast, and this is a pessimistic one. But then you can also compare um, that type of information to the benchmark of companies similar to yours, so you can get
Excellent.
an
Yeah.
additional piece of context.
So
Which
do you know
makes
it's really unfair what I said at the beginning. I feel really bad because we've used it as I say as an MCS for our clients. To the purposes that we just said. But clearly, it's way more. It's an entire data studio. Um, it's far more than I gave it sort of credit for at the beginning. Is that how it's pitched these days? Who are your competitors? Is it like enterprise software? Is it somewhere below that? Where do you think you are?
That's a good question. So previously we were more compared to dashboarding tools like agency analytics or Looker.
Yeah, that's
You're
sort
just
of
not a
where I
data
was.
studio, right?
Yeah, that's what I was describing it as, really. But
Yeah.
but clearly way more than that.
Well, now we do have forecasting, benchmarking, AI, and data sets is now the biggest differentiator, because you can basically handpick properties from each data source, and then we replicate data in our warehouse, so it's syncing automatically, and then you can apply filters, you can merge data between data sources on the row level, right? So this pushes us somewhere more closer to Power BI, Tableau, but um, not as difficult to use.
Yeah, yeah.
We're basically a modern BI tool.
It's very much like HubSpot itself, and it's very easy to use. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, so you can get started very easily, but you can also make things very complex if
Yeah,
you prefer to do that.
yeah. If you need to do it, amazing. And what sort of say support? So if you're watching this and you come through a HubSpot partner or like us, or if you go to Databox yourself, what's the sort of process? How do you kick off by helping people?
I work exclusively with partners, but if
Good point.
someone
Good point.
would sign up,
So come through a partner. Come through us. Never mind other partners. Just come through us. I can't say that on a hug. It's not for selling.
But if you want to check it out yourself, you can get a 2-week trial of whichever plan you pick. Obviously, we have different plans, so you can find one that best matches your needs. But you're not out there alone. You can get a lot of help from our team to see if a tool like this can help and deliver value for you.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to would be sign up for an account, connect some sources, get an initial view of what the tool looks like, and then book a call with our team to talk more and talk about what you came
That it was the
do
trial.
with it.
That's what I was trying to get to. But the guys, I know quite a few people at Databox now. As you do over the years, and it's a great team. Very helpful, very knowledgeable, and very much service driven. Very much into supporting the clients get what they need. What have we missed out, Fed? Have I cut you short in your prime? Was there something you particularly wanted to talk about before we close up?
I think we covered pretty much everything. The other thing I didn't mention is notifications. So you can
Oh,
get notified
excellent.
in different ways. You can create a little scorecard like this. Well, unless you're in a demo account. So the scorecard looks like this. So you can get very quick insights delivered to you daily, weekly. This can be shown in your Slack. So we use it, for example, every week. At the beginning of the week, we get a summary of last week's performance. So in terms of sessions, signups, new customers, conversion rates, so those sort of metrics we want to get in a little nifty scorecard like this delivered to Slack, but also this can be sent to email, right? So you can get your little summary just to understand a couple of things without having to log in to the app yourself. So this
Nice.
can be sent to channels in your Slack so everyone can see. Also, as I said, like every dashboard loop, report can be automatically sent to whoever you like in email, Slack, etc. And that's another way to get notified. You can also get notified based on each metric. So, like when I showed you the metric on an individual level, you can get that delivered to your email. But we also have alerts. So you can get notified based on the performance of each individual metric, right? So, like if you can look at bounce rate here, we want to know if it's greater than 30% in the last 90 days. And if that happens, we'll get notified for it. So we
Right.
can
Nice.
make adjustments. And Slack, you can directly connect it here and manage your Slack notifications here.
So
But
this is ideal for somebody like me. I'm not really interested in pages and pages of reports, but I do want to know when an important feedback loop is triggering either positively or negatively. Exactly right. I love it. I love it.
exactly. And you can make your favorites here. So you don't have to spend time going through dashboards or clicking on themes. You can have your favorite view here and it's curated for you. And that's the same for every user. So every user can have their own custom home screen, their custom favorites tab, their custom favorite metrics as well.
Brilliant.
But that's
That's about
about
it.
it.
Well, there's plenty. Yeah, there's plenty, and I know there's more to it as well because we've not talked about surveys or benchmark reporting. Maybe we'll get around to that another day. But thanks so much, Fed. That's exactly what I needed. Really appreciate you coming on and talking to our audience, our South Wales HubSpot user group. I would suggest if you are part of the South Wales Hug and you do want to talk to Fed or anybody else, let me know. And we'll set up a proper demo for you individually. And obviously, if you want to know about HubSpot, then talk to me, and I can sort out a demo for you for that. But otherwise, yeah, any questions on it, I will send through to Fed if you need to. Do you want to put your address out there? Email address, I should say.
Okay, I
Not,
thought that you wanted to send me some home visitors, so like
yeah.
the
Send them
flight would
around
be
for an
expensive.
evening glass of wine or a game of tennis or something like that.
I'm always up for that. But I chucked my email here in the chat.
Perfect.
So
That's
you guys can
Fedor,
grab it.
Fedor at databox.com, as easy as it gets. And if you're too lazy to write that down, then just hit me up wherever you've watched this video and I'll get you in charge. Thanks again, Fed. Look forward to talking to you again soon. And yeah, keep your ears and eyes peeled for the next South Wales Hug. be about 4-6 weeks. It may very well be something to do with the inbound conference that's coming up in a week or so. I'll let you know when I know what we're going to do. But thanks everybody, and again, thanks Fed. I'll speak to
Thank
you
you.
again soon.
See you, everyone.
Bye bye.
Cheerio.